So, what's the real difference between someone who's just, going through the motions and someone who has a truly genuine faith? Because from the outside, you might not be able to tell them apart at all. So, let's unpack this critical distinction between simply performing religion versus truly practicing it. Okay, so check this out. On one side, we have Christian A. This person does all the right things: prays, reads the Bible, goes to church, serves, gives. And on the other side, we have Christian B. I mean, on paper, they look exactly the same, a perfect mirror image, right? And here is the real puzzle we've got to solve. Even though their actions are identical, we're told that one of them is a legalist and the other one isn't. So what gives? If their behavior is exactly the same, what could possibly be the difference? Well, it turns out the answer isn't something you can see on the surface. The difference isn't in the what, it's in the why. It's all a matter of the heart. The entire distinction between practice and performance really just comes down to our internal motivation. So, what is this legalism we're talking about? Well, it's defined as a mindless, heartless, and fearful adherence to rules. But pay close attention to that last part. It's ultimately faith in yourself to earn God's favor. The focus is completely on your own effort, which makes it totally self-centered. And this is not a new idea by any stretch. Jesus himself tackled it head-on when he was talking about the Pharisees. He quoted the prophet Isaiah, saying their worship was a farce, because, sure, their words and actions looked right, but their hearts were miles away. That external show meant absolutely nothing without any internal sincerity. And this really breaks down the two mindsets perfectly. The legalist is thinking, okay, if I do this, I'll earn some points with God. It's basically a transaction. But the disciple, their thought process is totally different. They think, I get to do this because I love God and I genuinely want to please him. The action is the same, but the motivation shifts from obligation to affection. Okay, but let's be real. This isn't some simple choice between two easy paths, right? For most of us, maybe all of us, it's this constant inner conflict, a tug of war that plays out inside us every single day. You often hear this conflict described as a battle between law and grace. On one side, you've got the law, which can lead to things like bondage and performance. And on the other side, there's grace, which is all about freedom and real, genuine transformation. They are two fundamentally opposed forces at war within us. And listen, if you've ever felt this tug of war inside, you are in really good company. The Apostle Paul was incredibly honest about this very struggle in the book of Romans. He's basically saying, the good stuff I want to do, I don't do it. And the bad stuff I hate, yep, that's what I end up doing. It's a deeply human and deeply spiritual conflict. So if we can't win this battle by just trying harder, which, let's be honest, is just another form of legalism anyway, then what's the solution? How does real, lasting change actually happen? There's this really fascinating story from a book by Tony Merida that gives us a powerful and honestly a pretty surprising answer to that question. All right, so let's meet this teenager named Rico. And his parents, they are at their wits' end. They're begging him to take a shower, please, use deodorant, wash the car, maybe get a job. But Rico, he just isn't interested. No amount of rules or nagging seems to work. And then, something happens. A miracle, you could say. Rico gets a girlfriend. And just like that, without a single nag from his parents, he wants to shower, he wants to get a job, he wants to wash the car. The rules didn't change at all. His behavior simply followed his affections. It's that simple. And that is the whole key right there. When a superior affection, in this case for Christ, takes hold in your heart, it changes absolutely everything. Your actions are no longer driven by duty or obligation, but by love and a deep desire. The motivation is transformed from the inside out. So what this does is it totally reframes how we think about spiritual disciplines. They stop being this heavy, burdensome checklist, and they start becoming a form of intentional training, kind of like how an athlete prepares for a big competition. Paul actually uses this exact same metaphor in 1 Corinthians, and it's brilliant. He says he disciplines his body like an athlete in training. He's not just shadow boxing or, just going through the motions. He's running with purpose in every single step, with a clear goal right there in front of him. And this brings up a really great question, doesn't it? I mean, we would never accuse a marathon runner who gets up at 5 a.m. every single day to train of being a legalist. We'd call them dedicated, inspired. So, why are we so quick to fear that same kind of intentional discipline when it comes to our spiritual lives? At the end of the day, it's not about earning points or trying to make God love you more. It's about training with a purpose, running the marathon of a godly life in a way that leads to real transformation and fulfillment. And this change of heart has these incredible ripple effects. When love, not performance, is our motivation, everything shifts. Even conflicts, that inner tug of war we feel, or disagreements we have with other people, they become opportunities to actually demonstrate grace, not just perform it. So that leaves us with one final question, and it's really for you to think about. When you look at your own life, are you just following a set of rules, or are you training with purpose? Are you running to win? Because that answer, well, it reveals everything about what's really going on in the heart.